Alright, so my chapter was chapter 4 for Death on the Nile. And basically what I started off with was the setting, because I thought in the setting it was a desert and it was going to take longer to do than the characters. So I first started off and I was experimenting with 2 different shapes, a circular shape and then more of the triangle shape. And at the time I liked the triangle shape better. And so I was like, okay, triangles, they like desert and sand. So I went with that for a while, and I put my horses in, and how I did my horses was I Googled a picture of a horse, and I was looking at it, and then I took a whole bunch of shapes and made them the same color and outline. So I got like this, how I got the shapes of the horses. And then the little opposite color was so that this shape didn't blend into that shape, so it's just, this one's a white triangle underneath the black. So I'll go back to this one. So I asked my friends, I was like, so when you look at this, like, does it look like a desert, or what's your opinion? And they were like, it kind of looks like mountains. And I was like, mountains is not what I'm going for. So I changed it up and I took different blocks and shapes and I rotated them to give it more of a desert feel that way. And just looking at it, I was like, that's not really deserty. So I added a couple of cactuses, and I did a couple of styles for like the branches on the cactuses. And so I ended up going with this one, and so I switched that one, and then I added a whole bunch of lines and thorns to represent cactuses. And then this triangle thing, I was trying to like show depth, like it's a big desert, like it goes back. But I didn't end up liking that, so I took it out, and then I started working on my people riding the horses in a halter. And so then I put the other one in with the halter. And I didn't really like the way the harness was on the horse, so I changed it to straight lines instead. And I changed the colors and the people. So my colors are going to be red, the brown, black, and white. And I wasn't totally for sure how I wanted to portray Simon yet. And so I just stopped with this scene and I moved on to my next scene, which is going to be where Lynette and Simon are on top of a pyramid, like enjoying themselves, and then Jack just shows up and she's sightseeing. And so this is Lynette that I first started out with. But I didn't really like that, and so I was just starting over, and I used that face for Lynette, and I morphed it into Simon's face, and so that's Simon for right now. And I put in like where Lynette was going to be in the scene, and then I put Jack again. And then I changed the background, and you notice how Jackie changed with more of triangle pointed bottoms, because she's not really a stable character, so I wanted to portray she's not stable, she's crazy, and I think when you look at it, she looks really crazy. And then so I was like, they're mad, so how more can I show this? I put triangles in, but I didn't really like that, so I just skipped that idea. And then to make more sense of the blocks that they're standing on, I added lines to the pyramid that's in the background. And then I moved on to the third scene because I still wasn't totally sure how I wanted my characters to look like. So this is my third scene where Simon and Lynette are talking, and they're like, she's mad because Jackie's ruining everything, and this is when the detective is like listening into their conversation. And so then I was like, after I got that, I was like, okay, now I need to actually figure out what my characters are going to look like. So for Jackie, I did a little more options and messed with the coloring and shading and stuff. And one time I tried like shoes for her, but I felt that made her look too stable. So I took them off and didn't use that. I ended up using the first one with the brown hair and the red, and then the last ones are the same, the characters I used for my final scenes. And so this is basically, I put Simon in and Jackie, and I'm still trying to figure out Lynette. And then I put the characters in, still ignoring Lynette, because she was my final character I did, because I wanted her to like be the most evolved. And so I was taking time to figure out what I wanted her to look like. And so here it is again, and I actually finished Lynette in this scene, and I added the pearls because she's famous for her pearls. It's 13. So I don't know what I actually did differently in this one. And then this is the final, was going to be my final scene, and I added the triangles in to act like sand moving up, like they're running in the desert, like it's sandy. But I didn't, then I asked my friend's opinion again, and they're like, looking at, it looks okay, but when you look at it, it doesn't really look like anything, it just looks like random triangles. So I ended up deleting that, and that's my first final scene. And then this is my second final scene where everyone's like mad that Jackie showed up. And then this is my third final scene where the detective is listening in to their conversation.